Hillel, if he shows up, we have to make a big stick. Hi, Hillel. He's probably watching. All right, so we're holding up Chavdalat on the Aleph by the Mishnah. Brand new sugya. Says the Mishnah, we just had three Mishnayos that say kosher b'zeh v'kosher b'zeh. We had the Mishnah of Shchita and Melika, kosher b'Melika, apostle b'Shchita. And then we have the Mishnah of Teirim and B'nei Yoina. What's kosher by a Yoina is possible by a Teir. And then yesterday we had the Mishnah of Egla. Shalom Aleichem. Knocking off, doing arifa to the head does not work by Shchita. Now we're going to look at the fourth Mishnah. Same concept. Kosher b'Kohanim, possible by Levim. So basically we're discussing the age group. What's kosher b'Kohanim, what makes a kohen kosher, the age, or a mum, or not a mum, possible by Levim, kosher by Levim, possible by Kohanim, and of course the Gemara explains. Tana Rabbana. Kohanim b'mumim poislim, psulim, b'shonim ksheir. So a kohen that has a mum cannot perform the avodah. But the years don't really make a difference. He could be an older kohen and he could still perform the avodah. However, by Levim, b'mumin ksherim, a mum doesn't pass a Levi. B'shonim psulim, a Levi can only work from the age of 30 to 50. So there's an age limitation. Nimtza kosher b'kohanim, possible b'levim, kosher b'levim, possible b'kohanim, menanimili. The Tana Rabbanon zois asher lelevim. Matamud loymar. Printed this out just to give more reference here. This is very interesting. You see this? You can't really see it. So the guys in the back have to look at their WhatsApp. But yeah, it's for me. In Bamidbar, Perek Ches, it says in Pasuk Vav, Kaches Halavim, and then afterwards in Pasuk Tes it says Vikraftis Halavim. Then it says Vikraftis Halavim. Then it says V'heinevaris Halavim. V'Halavim Yismuchu Yisideyem V'hematas Halavim. All the blues. V'hayu li Halavim.
That's all Kohanim, really.
No, it's all Levim. V'achriken Yavo Levim.
It's Shevet Levi, but it's the actual.
Vekres Levim. Vedes Levim. Okay, no, we're talking about Levim here. Vayischatu Halevim. V'achriken Bo Halevim. And then our pasuk, just as a background, then our pasuk Zois Asher Levim. So the Gemara is saying that the word Zois in red is extra because we're talking about Levim. It's very obvious that we're talking about Levim. How more obvious could it be if all these psukim were talking about Levim? It should say, says Rashi, Mi ben chomish v'ezim shana v'malo. All these people that we're talking about, all these Levim are from 25 years and up. Why Zois Asher Levim? It's extra, it's coming to tell us a limud. And then all the way over here it says in Pasuk Chof Hey Ume ben Chamishim Shana Yoshuv, the last pasuk. That means at the age of 50, bye-bye, he can't work anymore. So you see that there's an age limit. And maybe I would think that a mum should also pass by him. If it's a kavachomer. What's the kavachomer? We'll say it outside. If years don't ruin a kohen, but years ruin it for a Levi, so whatever ruins it for a kohen should certainly ruin it for a Levi. Levi is more chomer. You have to be more makbid. There's an age limitation, so certainly there should be a mum limitation. Vidinu. And by the way, like we had in all the previous Mishnayos, the three Mishnayos beforehand, we had the same kavachomers. And once you have one kavachomer, you say the kavachomer on the reverse. Vidinu. What's the din? Kohanim are much stronger. They don't have an age limitation, yet if they have a little mum, they can't perform the avodah. Levim, shashonim, poison behem. They're more sensitive. The years, there's a limitation to how old it could be. So certainly a mum should ruin it for the Levi. So therefore, after all these Levim, the Torah says Zois Asher Levim. Why Zois? We're talking about Levim. So the Zois comes to say that only a Levi has a limitation to the years and not a kohen. Zois Levim ve'ein acheres Levim. So maybe a kohen should be puzzled with years. Maybe once he reaches 50, that's it. And now we reverse the Kavachomer just like we reversed it by Egla, and like we did it by Shechita Melika, and we did it by the pigeons and the Taurim. Now we're going to do the same Kavachomer on both parts of the Mishnah. You see the Leviim, a mum doesn't passel him, yet years, the age does passel him. So certainly by a kohen, there should be an age limitation. And that's why this is in blue, it should be in red. Asher la'leviim is specific to Leviim, this age limitation, but not kohanim. Yachol af b'shiloi beis ilamim kain. So now, for that, we have our first flow chart. It's an attempt. It's going to get better. The Mishkan was in the Midbar for 40 years. From the Midbar, it went to Gilgal. Gilgal is next to Yericho, and it stayed in Gilgal for 14 years. It had the Aron, and then it went to Shiloh. Shiloh for 369 years. This is before the Beis Hamikdash. This is the Mishkan. As they came to Israel a few years later, 14 years later, they had a Mishkan with the Aron, with everything. Then we had the story the other day with Eli. When he found out that the Plishtim took the Aron, he fell off his chair, he died. That's when Shiloh was Nechrav, and it went from Shiloh to Noiv. Noiv is famous for Shaul. He killed out Ira Kohanim, and it went from Noiv to Givon. Together, Noiv and Givon, it was for 57 years, and then finally, Shlomo HaMelech built the Beis Hamikdash in Yerushalayim, and then we have Bayis Rishon and Bayis Sheni.
And the Mishkan moved to Yerushalayim already with David HaMelech, the Aron.
The Aron? Yeah, but we didn't have a Beis Hamikdash. We didn't have a place for it until Shlomo HaMelech built it. What happened in David, I know. Then we had over here. There was no Aron. There was Bamais. There was no Aron in Noiv and Givon. Says the Gemara. Yochol af b'shiloi ubebeis olamim kain. Talmud loymar la'avoid avodas avodah v'avodas masa. So maybe there's an age limitation by Shiloi and Beis Ilamim. In other words, over here, in these two spots, Shiloi 369 years, and Yerushalayim, where they finally made the Beis Hamikdash, Lo Ilamim, for eternity. Talmud loymar la'avoid avodas avodah v'avodas masa. Lo yimarti elo bizman sha'avodah b'kosef. In other words, in the Midbar, right over here, that's where they had to carry the Mishkan. There was back and forth. They're constantly moving it. So you needed strong kohanim. You needed strong Leviim. Those are the ones that. But when the Mishkan was in Shiloh, all the Levi did was he was a gatekeeper and he sang. So you didn't need strength. So there's no age. There's no age limitation then.
The Gemara mentions only Shiloh and Yerushalayim because those were the mainstays of the Mishnah. Doesn't mention the other places.
I was hoping you wouldn't ask that, because I'm not exactly sure what the answer is. There is a difference between Shiloh and the others because of the Aron, so I wasn't sure. I thought that in the beginning, and I didn't really see that they speak about it, but it only mentions those two. So maybe those are the Iker because of the amount of years, or maybe there's really a difference, and I'm not sure. When it's physical labor on the shoulder, then you have this limitation. But in the Midbar, where we did have a limitation of years, so that limitation also applied to singing. You can't say, I'm young and have a good voice, I'm a Miami Boys choir or whatever, I should be able to sing, and I'll do the Avodah B'Kosev when I'm 30. No. Since there's a limitation to 30, you have to be at least 30 years old. So even for singing, you have to be 30 years old. Says the Gemara, Kosev echad oimer mi ben chomesh ve'esem shana v'mala, v'kosev echad oimer mi ben shloishim. So there's a contradiction in the Psukim l'chayra. On the one hand, it says the Levi needs to be 25 years old. On the other hand, it says the Levi needs to be 30 years old. So which one is it? Says the Gemara, Iev shaloim ha-shloishim shekvar nema chomesh ve'esrim, v'yev shaloim ha-chomesh ve'esrim shekvar nema shloishim. By the way, before I forget, today's shir is sponsored by Dr. Epstein. Liv Nishmas, his father. Today's his yard site. Ari ben Avram. There's no such name. Avram, no? Avram without a hey? Avram. Ari ben Avram.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's what he was called.
Americans.
Okay.
That's what he was called.
Avram.
The whiskey.
He actually sponsored today's shir. He was very generous, donated money to the shir fund. So it's a real Ilun Neshama. Once we're mentioning Dr. Epstein, I have to mention his son-in-law, Avi Kamyansky, who just schlepped a full suitcase full of coffee from America, so you guys can enjoy. We also have Yisachar over there hiding somewhere. He also brought coffee from America the other day. Did you bring it already? It's here? Yishkoyach Gala. Whoever goes to America should, I don't know if we have to bring coffee. We're going to be selling coffee soon for the shir fund. Shkoyach. All right. Says the Gemara, now we have a contradiction. One pasuk says 30 years, the other pasuk says 25 years old. So how old does a Levi have to be? Says the Gemara, amazing thing. The Levim went into school for 5 years. Did you know this, Nachman?
Music school.
No, it's not just music school. Yeah, they learned music. They learned everything about the Beis Hamikdash, how to take apart the pieces, everything. It was a very hard job. It took a long time to learn. Now, some people learn...
For 5 years.
What?
I
I don't know what they learned. But anyways, so the Gemara says, Mikan leTalmid sheloi ra simin yofe b'mishnasoi chameshanim. If a student is studying and he doesn't see Hatzlacha for 5 years, I guess it means one topic or one big inyan. Shuv einoi roya. Unfortunately, I didn't see this Gemara when I was taking my... No, you don't know what I'm going at. It took me 5 years to become a pilot. I was like the slowest pilot in history. I should have, right here, 5 years, that's it. I didn't make it. I should have chapped. If I would have learned this Gemara, boom. Most people, it takes a year. Me, it took 5 years.
Did you do it in Miami?
I actually, yeah. How did you know? No, I did everything in Chicago, and then I couldn't take my final test. The weather wasn't good. I flew to Miami, and boom. Yeah. Whoever wants to hear more stories about that, right at the ship.
You guys talk about a failed pilot test? Is there?
There was no, it wasn't. The guy told me, he says, I gotta go. Could you it's like, okay. Baruch Hashem, I saw that he's in a rush. Yeah, no problem. What?
The best story is why you quit flying.
That's not such a great
That
story.
is the best story.
No. Do you know the story? Then you don't know the story.
One chance.
Okay, different time. No, the guy that parked next to me, his plane, and my plane, it was a frum guy, his name was Shalom Menorah, and unfortunately he got killed in a plane crash. With the pilot himself, and his grandchildren were all in the plane, and they all died besides one.
Shalom's his son.
Right, Moshe Menorah, sorry. Chas v'shalom. Moshe Menorah was the pilot, and his 3 grandchildren, 1 grandchild survived the crash, and that was it. My wife said that's it. Right. 3 failed attempts, and that was the last time I flew a plane. Not to mention that my own plane was in a crash and was totaled, but not by me, by some guy that rented it from me. Okay, so moving on.
Can't ask him for the money.
For what?
For the money.
Did he total himself as well?
No, that guy survived. All right, weiter gegangen, and this has everything to do with the daf. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Shalish Shanim. Now Rabbi Yossi comes along and says, yes, it says in the pasuk, l'chor we have a contradiction. It seems like it takes a Levi 5 years to learn his avodah, but I say it only takes 3 years to learn something. Shenemar ulegadlam shanim shalosh ulelandim sefer uleshen kazim. The Nebuchadnezzar took a bunch of youngsters to teach them. He wanted to raise them to be his right-hand men, and he said it takes about 3 years to teach them the language. Loshen kazim. So what do? So on the one hand we have 5 years it takes to learn something, then on the other hand we have 3 years. That's an easy language to learn, so it only takes 3 years, but the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash takes 5 years. The opposite. That a normal thing only takes 3 years to learn. So if you want to learn something, a sugya, that takes 3 years. The avodah in the Beis Hamikdash, that took more because it was much harder, so that took 5 years. Tana Rabbanan. Koyen mishiyavi shtei sarais achi yaskin koshel avodah. So the shear for a kohen, he has to be a ish, as we're going to see later on. Ish is shtei sarais until he becomes old. The Gemara is going to say that old means until he starts shaking, but there's no real age limit until he's old. Umumim poislam boy. Yet if he has a mum, then he cannot perform the avodah. Ben Levi, ben Shloshim, ben Chamishim, kosher avodah. Ben Levi, as we said, from 30 years old to 50 years old, he's kosher. Ushonim poisenboy. Yet there's an age limitation. Like we said, that there's an age limitation because over there they had to work, they had to schlep, so you had to be at your peak. The peak, according to this Gemara, is a person is the strongest from 30 to 50. Not like we have in the NBA today, 20 to 30. It's 30 to 50. Once your voice starts changing and you start shaking in your voice, you don't have a nice voice, that's the psul. That the band, the mechatzitzrim, and the singers should sing in unison. It should have a nice pitch, a nice. Once they're off tune and once they're no good, they can't perform that way.
This has running around to the 80s and now.
So very good. Yeah. Then they could go. Then they can keep on going.
There's a test.
Right, there's a test. Once they see you're off.
So even at 45, they could be kicked out.
Correct.
You want to let it
There's certain people.
50 years old is the
So you
cutoff.
should never go to donuts.
Certain people in my family. I'm not going to mention if it's my father-in-law or not, but Shalom Aleichem and Eishes Chayil. You've never heard something like this in your life. It's yeah. Special. It's always on a harmony kind of thing.
So 50 is the age when they test them?
No,
Is this 30 to 50 is the Levine?
that's in the midbar, and then in the Mikdash it just has to do.
Once your voice starts
But usually there's a certain older person. Now yes, there's a Yitzim in a cloud that an old man has a nice voice. Fine, but usually at a certain.
to tell the old guy out, that's it. Hang it up.
It's very interesting that you mentioned that because I just saw this morning a story that there's an old man that had shaking hands. It was in the sugya of shaking. Oh, what a schos. Big schos. It's not that it came late today. This is the normal time for everybody. Hold on a second. Last night was Hillel's daughter's wedding. It was an amazing chasana, a beautiful chasana, and it gives us tremendous chizuk that you're here now. I know you went to sleep very, very late, and you still came to the daf. You woke up early, so it's a tremendous chizuk for everybody. Shkoyach. Yeah, what were you asking?
Was there a conductor?
You'll see soon. It says the Menatzchim, but it's talking about something else. But anyways, going back to my thing, I don't know. Mistama, it was a nice. It was a whole choir. It was a nice thing. I don't know that there was a. There probably was. Yeah. Anyways, there was a question whether or not a sheikhet, as we're going to see soon, it says that a kind that's old and he shakes, he can't perform the avodah. So there was a sheikhet that didn't want to hang up his shechita. He's an old man. He was 80 years old, and he kept on telling people, "No, my hand is when I shecht, I'm very strong." So they went to the Imrei Emes or something, one of the rebbes, and he didn't answer. He said, "Okay." And then on Shabbos, when everybody's sitting around, he says, "You bench." So the guy took the cup, everything fell out of the cup. So they didn't want to say hang it up. So the Rebbe just gave him the cup and he chap by himself that it's not. So there's no hanging up.
I've seen Moyle shaking hands.
Really? Well, how was the job afterwards? Yeah.
Those guys joined the
He was
choir.
told to.
Wow. Fine.
We had a shaker in London.
Also didn't want to hang it up.
He was the top shaker. And
It's hard.
And he was shaking still in his late 80s. And he was still the top shaker. He was still considered the best.
There was a guy in my shir in Chicago. He was in his late 90s. And the guy could barely hear, he could barely walk, and he used to drive, and people were frightened. This guy, he's not and he died from a car accident. Yeah, his own car accident. Yeah, he's 97 years old. He literally couldn't get into the shir, and he was, "What you say?" Like this guy, and then he's driving around. It's crazy. So at a certain point, you have to literally take the keys away. It's hard, but.
Do they not have compulsory?
They do, but they're very nice. They're very, because he's old. The guy in the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles, is not going to be mean to the guy. So they let it go. Like they do to to my wife also. They just, go. Says the Gemara, Achi Yaskin. Let's go. She does not listen to share. Achi Yaskin.
Someone sends it to her. Says, listen to this minute.
Says the Gemara.
I hope you could prenup even.
Says the Gemara Tab. We're holding a Chavdalim, and we have a very special presentation at the end of the year, so we have to finish quickly. Achi Yaskin, until the Kohen gets older, Ad Kamo, what's the age? Omer Rebeloi, Omer Rebechanino, Achi Yiratis. When he starts shaking like a leaf or shaking, that's it. He has to give it up. Nan Hosam, we learned also sugya that it has to do with age, the difference of age. Baal Keri Shetoval V'lo Hitel Mayim. This is an interesting halacha of Baal Keri, who went to the mikvah, but he didn't go to the bathroom yet. So it's possible that he still has zera inside of him. When he goes to the bathroom afterwards, he might emit zera, and that would automatically make him tameh because zera is b'mashu. This halacha only applies to older men that still has zera in him. A younger, strong person would emit it all, and he wouldn't have anything left in him. Yeled at kamo. What's the shear of a young strong guy? A person who we put one foot on a bench and we tie our shoe. If you could do that without the bench, just in the ear, your foot up and take off your shoe and put your shoe on and tie it without falling down, the balance, that means that you're young and strong and you're not metama. Shahir ben Shmoinim Shonim, he's 80 years old. That's what you were saying, Mr. Komodo. Oh, I know a guy that was 80 years old and saying, yeah, it's a one-time thing, and that's why we bring it. Shahir ben Shmoinim Shonim, he was 80 years old and he was able to balance himself like this. He was strong. Omer Rebbe Chanino, Chamim v'shemen shesochasni imi bialdusi. So Rebbe Chanina said, the reason why I'm able to do this is because when I was younger, my mother used to bathe me in oil. Hein amduli beiziknusi. By the way, this l'char is the same Rebbe Chanina that we had in the beginning of the Masechta. He was a doctor. Does anybody remember Rebbe Chanina, the doctor? The people used to ask him questions in Refuah? No? It was this Masechta. Yeah? That what? It was the story with the white donkey, the white mule. And he said, anybody that ever asked me about a wound from a white mule never lived. In other words, white mule is very dangerous. So this is the Rebbe Chanina who's saying, I'm a doctor, and I'm telling you that this oil really works. If a kohen has a full beard, what's a shliach tzibur? What's a shliach tzibur? We think of a shliach tzibur as someone that goes up to daven. And then it says a second later, v'leirid lifnei hateva, and to daven for the amid. So obviously shliach tzibur does not mean to daven for the amid. So what does shliach tzibur mean? Says Rashi, 4 things with the Haggah on the side. It means to blow the shofar, and to give malchus, and to put somebody in nidui, and to become the parnas of the city. Veliso es kap of what?
The layered lifnei hateva is because mimemakim krasich Hashem also.
To go down? No, because in those days, more than that. I mean, it was physically in those days you'd go down to the amud because the amud was lower. There was a step. Not mimemakim krasicha. You mean because of mimemakim krasicha, they made it lower. There was a step down. In our shul in Lincolnwood, Avi would know this. The rabbi insisted that there should be a step that you pull it out from underneath the bima. It's a bima like every other bima, but he wanted you to go up. Oila latayr, so there's a step. He pulls it out, and you go up on top of the step. You're oila latayr. Fine. Now there's a taisus here, and there's a lot of rishonim discussing this because it says that a person has to have a full beard in order to duchen for the amid. But we see today in Eretz Yisrael, you have kids duchening for the amid, you have kids on the bar mitzvah. So what do you do? So Tosfos talks about it. So he says that that's referring to there's a sugya in Megillah. It seems like you have to be a gadol. So at any rate, the bottom line in Tosfos is that to do it b'kvius, you have to have a beard, but you could go once in a while. You could go up and by yourself. Now and then he goes into that by yourself. You shouldn't. A cotton should not go up by himself, but he could go up with his father. And in our show, we asked if there's, and it happens almost every Shabbos, there's only one kohen and he has one son. And do you call out kohanim? are they considered two? And Reb Chaim Kanievsky said no, it's only considered one. You don't call up Kehanim. He goes, you never noticed? We don't say Kehanim when Kinori is by himself. Kinori and his son. Under bar mitzvah, you don't say Kehanim. Yeah. Under bar mitzvah. Taner Rabbanon, yeah, we said that. May Masay Kashal Avoida when he could perform Avoida Mishyavish Tisars. Rebbe Oimer, Rebbe says, Oimer Ani Achiyeh Ben Esrim. I say until he's 20 years old. It's interesting that I found that Rebbe says these words Oimer Ani 16 times in Shas. Nobody else says it. Only Rebbe. It's special to Rebbe. This lashon Oimer Ani, even though he was the greatest Anav. Oimer Ani, I say.
Probably because people wouldn't confuse that he's bringing it in from anywhere else.
Rebbe, yeah, okay.
This is my own.
Fine. Rebbe Oimer Ani, Achie Ben Esrim. He has to be 20 years old. And we're going to see soon what that means. Is it L'chatchila, B'di'eved? Omer Rav Chizda, my time of the Rebbe, to perform Avodah. You have to be a 20-year-old Kohen in order to perform Avodah. A Kohen. Omer Rav Chizda, my time of the Rebbe, D'chsiv, V'yamidu es haLevim, Ben Esrim Shona V'malan, L'natseach al Meleches Beis Hashem. They put the Levim, from 20 years old, to be the managers, L'natseach, al Meleches, to be supervisors. Al Meleches Beis Hashem.
Doesn't mean they started training when they were 15.
Yeah, well, it doesn't say that about Kohanim. It says that about Levim. I don't know what kind of... they also had training.
Training was more than Levine.
But what was complicated with the Levim, first of all, music is complicated. And to set up the Beis HaMikdash is very complicated. But I guess to shecht and to do everything else is also... everything is complicated. V'ai krab Levim ksiv. So that's what you were asking, Gershon. Levim. It says Levim over here. Why are you saying it's talking about Kohanim? 24 places in the Torah, a Kohen is called a Levi, and a very obvious one is the pasuk that says V'kohanim haLevim b'nei tzaddik. So we're talking about Kohanim, yet the pasuk calls them haLevim b'nei tzaddik. Fine. Says the Gemara Tanur Rabbanon, Ish mizaracha l'deroisam. Mikan Omar Rebbe Elazar, Choton Pasol Avodah has to be Ish. V'afilu tam, even if he's a perfect and he has no mumim, nothing, a cotton should not perform the avodah. May Mosai Koshel avodah. When can he start? Mishiyavi shtei saris. Aval echav hakoyanim ein menichim mois la'avoid at shiyah ben esrim. It says it happens to be that a 13-year-old could perform the avodah, but it's not the older koyanim. They're snobs. They don't like the fact that these little guys are performing with them. They shoo them away. But halachically, they can perform the avodah. Igad Amri. What?
Don't they bid when there's extra people in the Mishmar?
Bid?
They bid to be the people.
But that has nothing to do. It has to do with the age group. Let's say whatever Mishmar is performing, the older guys.
That's what,
The young Kohan that does the
Yeah, but it could be.
They check the wood for Tola'it.
not the avodah.
Iked Amri, Horebi, Vafilu Pasul the Rabbanon Leslie. That this is Rebbe, and even but the evidence mutter just the Kohanim didn't allow. Iked Amri, Rebbe Islay Psum the Rabbanon, but you could say also that Rebbe holds that with the Rabbanon it's possible. In other words, the Chatchila under 20 you should not perform the avodah. V'harabbanani l'chilahu deloy avad the eved avedosik sheira. This is only halacha the Rabbanon, but the eved if a 19-year-old performed the avodah, we let it through. Yeah.
You bring your raya from Yecheskel. We had lots of questions on Yecheskel.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, because that's why I stuck in.
Bring it from there and prove the raya so that when
There's 24 places in the Torah that we're not proving from Yecheskel. Yecheskel is just the most obvious one, the biggest. I don't know if it's the most obvious. It seems like a very obvious contradiction. It says Hakoyanim Halavim, word after word. The only way to explain it is to say that they are Kohanim from Shevet Levi. In the other 23 places, it might not be as obvious. We're talking about Kohanim, but it's not as obvious. This is a very obvious Makar. That's not the Makar. It's just a great source. If you're going to bring one of 24 psukim, you pick that pasuk because it's those two words together. Says the Mishnah, continuing with our theme of kosher bezeh, pasuk bezeh. This is our fifth theme. Tahar b'kli cheres, tamei b'chol hakelim. So you have a kli cheres. A kli cheres is earthenware. Earthenware is different than any other kli in two halachas. Earthenware becomes tamei when the sheretz is just in the ear space of the kli. That's its chumrah. Even in the ear space, if it's hanging on a thread inside the cup, inside the kli, so everything inside the kli becomes tamei. And its kula is that if it's not mitame from gaboy from the outside, if tuma touches the outside of the kli, the inside does not become tamei. The whole kli doesn't become tamei. Says the Mishnah, tar b'kli cheres tamei b'chol hakelim. Touching a regular kli from the outside makes the whole kli tamei on a regular kli. Tar b'chol hakelim, but the ear inside the ear space of a regular kli, tamei b'kli cheres is mitame b'kli cheres ton rabbanon. Avir kli cheres tamei v'gabi tar. The ear space of a kli cheres is mitame, but it's outside. The back of it is tar. Avir kol hakelim tar v'gaban tamei. Nimtza. Tar b'kli cheres tamei b'chol hakelim. Tar b'chol hakelim tamei b'kli cheres. What's the Gemara going to do now? Based on everything we had, kal v'chomer, two kal v'chomers, back and forth. B'na'ani mili the tar rabbanon toichai. So we have our final thing for today. Like Avi says, if you want, you can just look at the side of the Gemara. V'chol kli cheres asher yipol mehem el toichai, kol asher b'toichai yitma v'oisei tishbur. The Gemara is telling us these two reds are two separate things. One is telling us that the food inside becomes tamei. We're talking about one of the Shemona Shratzim that's hanging. Let's say a guy on a fishing line has a dead mouse, and he puts it into the kli, but it never touched the kli. So everything that's inside the kli, all the food inside the kli, toichoi, l'tamei, becomes tamei. That's in blue, l'tamei. And then the pasuk says, kol shavdochi yitma is referring to the kli itself. The kli itself becomes tamei as well from this mouse. L'tamei itself. This is l'tamei and l'tamei. We'll see. Says the Gemara, even though it didn't touch the actual surface of the kli. Maybe.
We have a challenge here.
Yeah. Why not? It says Mefurish on one of my charts and had dead mouse and no? It's not one of the Shemona. I think it is. Yeah, why not? I'm pretty sure it is. It says inside the kli. Now, if we weren't discussing this, maybe you would say inside the kli. Inside a kli, like a normal, you put an apple inside a kli. Where else do you put it? It's not hanging in the kli. Who told you it's in the airspace? Maybe it's in the kli, inside the kli. So that's what I was telling you. Litame means other things. Toicha litama it itself. It says the second toicha is litama it itself. Ma toicha yomer litame avbishli noga. Just like the beginning of the pasuk is talking about, even if it didn't touch. And how do we know it didn't touch? The Gemara is going to explain in a second. Av toicha yomer litama avbishli noga. V'hasam enolan. And how do I know that the beginning of the pasuk is talking about even it didn't touch? Omer Rabbi Yonason hatoyra yida kli cheres va'afilu moli chardol. The Torah says. B'chol kli cheres asher yipol mehem el toichoy kol asher b'toichoy. Kol asher b'toichoy. What does kol mean? Everything, even the seed of mustard, a mustard seed. How small is a mustard seed? Very small. So let's say you have a lot of mustard seeds in a cup. The cup is full of mustard seeds. And a sheretz goes inside it. What becomes tamei? Everything becomes tamei. B'kol. How did the mustard seeds in the center become tamei? They're not touching the side of the kli. What would make them tamei? They're touching all the seeds. But how far could it go? It could go one to the other, maybe 2 times. But the center seeds, it's not one. They're all separate seeds. They're all separate seeds.
Why would just say a seed on the bottom is mitame?
No, because that's touching the kli. That's touching the wall. But if you have a kli full of seeds, obviously once you get to the center, it's 20 seeds removed from the side. Let's see Rashi in the top. Rashi has 3 svaras here. Top Rashi in the Daf Yomi Aleph. Right. No. So look at Rashi in the top. You'll see everything here. Shakliyan in gebekuloi. The kli doesn't touch all of the seeds. Only what the seeds that are touching the walls. Obviously, the middle seeds become tamei from the ear. And you cannot say that one seed is mitame the second seed. Why? Number one, in order to mitame one another, it has to be the size of kibetza. And we're talking about the seeds of mustard, they're very small. The second reason, food cannot be mitame other food. The middle one is at least 10 off the side, and the most you can get to is 4. The Tamas Emsoim have a great Shabbos. Shir Amatzis Shabbos is going to be at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. Now show and tell. We're going to show you what a kana looks like with the tabas hagodol, tabas hakotan, the koiva, the shipui, the chiti, and everything. No, I'm fixed. Bevakasha.
Tonight is the Shalom Zachor.
Tonight, Menachem Mata Shalom Zachor. Let's see what you have here. Yeah.
Okay. Here.
You can see over here.
Here is. You can look at the carnet.
You see how the cartilage.
There's the carnet.
The cartilage doesn't go completely around. This is a sheep.
This looks like There's the carnet, and there you see how the fat's on top because it doesn't go all the way around.
Show that this doesn't. Right over here, there's no cartilage. Right over here.
See, this is fat. Only towards the mouth. That's towards the mouth. This
Yeah.
is no. This is going downwards. Towards the mouth. Let's see.
The koiva is on the opposite side. He's going to
Tabasa
pull.
Gedola is cartilage all the way around. This
Where's
is
the tabas agdoila?
on this side.
You couldn't bring a. Okay.
I just got it.
So you're gonna have to touch it.
I just got it. Here is the tabasa gedola. See how it sticks out here?
That's the bottom part of the tabas agdoila.
Here.
1 minute. We have to see the. Oh, time out. We have to see the tabas agdoila better. You
see
can't
that?
really see it. No. You can't see cartilage.
Here's the tip of the kova. And here's if you shecht here, mina kova ulemata. Right, no, it goes like this.
Yeah.
Mina kova ulemata.
Where's the neck? From what side is the neck?
This plugs into the jaw.
Yeah.
Just put it in the
hand.
Yeah.
Here are the shitin.
The chiti. The
The
chiti.
chiti are inside there.
These two guys. Let's see. Yeah. Perfect. That's the vocal cords. Show them. Turn the chiti a little bit to everybody.
That's the chiti.
Which side is the
And
neck?
this kova, this goes up and down. See, this covers. There's a cover that covers.
The kova, I believe, is more part
Mazel
of.
tov.
Which side is the neck side?
Yeah. This is where it goes down. Yeah, from here.
No.
From here.
I think so.
Like that.
I think so. Right? The bottom. Where the meat is the top.
This is the head.
Right.
The head is here.
Right, but there's those where are those things?
The tabas.
Yeah. So where the fatty stuff is on top.
Yeah, that is on top. All everything here. Here, look, these are all the
It's coming
tabas.
from this side.
What do you mean this?
Yeah, this is a very clear picture of the tabas.
You don't really see the tabois one after another.
Let's see.
You see them from the side. That's a great.
See them.
You do. You do. It's
That's
it looks exactly like an air conditioner pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, here.
It's almost like
Very clear.
That's the
These are
taboo.
the tabas.
And you come from underneath.
Were you there when I said I want to bring the air conditioner pipe?
Cool. And then you can't see the tabasa gedola really. It's all covered with fat.
It's all covered. It's all covered.
It's got to be.
He said a sheep thing is very fatty. All in one.
Yeah.
Here, maybe here we can see the tabasa gedola.
No?
I think it's a sheep.
It's going to be a good hour.
I think it's better if you after you.
That's the tabas
I
agdoila?
think. Here, look. This is. You see, it's hard. See?
Oh,
See, it's hard.
that might be the
These are the
koiva. That might be the
fatty.
koiva right over here. This might be the koiva.
So,
Shipuya koiva.
but where's the tabasa gedola?
Right underneath.
Right
No, but
before.
this is.
Right before. This is the
This
big
one.
one.
And this one.
Yeah.
You don't need to say.
All right, we're learning.
Okay, we'll shut this off.
To know within 5 minutes.
Go ahead.